I was looking, I'll hold this up. This is the original, very long Possum Magic. It's called Hush the Invisible Mouse, obviously, from 1978. And when I read it, this morning, Jane, one of the things that you said so kindly to me was, look, Mem, it's obvious that you can write. And I read this and I thought, yes, I could write. I mean, I can see so much wrong with this long manuscript now. It's embarrassing. There's some such embarrassing parts of it. So embarrassing. But I can read that myself objectively and say, yes, this person is a writer. But you said it's far too long. Jane, my story always has been that I saw you two and everybody else on a Friday afternoon at Omnibus Books. It was the first time I had seen publishers face to face. That's another very exciting thing because you were in Adelaide. I was able to talk to somebody. I was actually able to see somebody face to face. It was fantastic, because all the publishers were in Melbourne or Sydney. So there we were, and you said, you can write. You said, I think you need to cut this by 2/3, and you need to write more lyrically.
That's then, I don't know what that means these days.
Just make it lyrical, you said, and cut. My story is that you said come back on Monday, and that I did. I'm sure it was longer than that, but I know that I was so desperate to be a published writer of children's books. I've no idea why I was so desperate, to be well known in that field as apart from any other field, as desperate to be well known in the field of children's literature. And I would have done anything that you and Sue had told me to do. I would have done anything to get that book published. I obeyed every word.
Yeah, we obviously we talked about the length and we talked about the mice, and we were clearly, as we've just mentioned before, we were clearly extremely worried about having to change the characters, because that would mean Julie having to redo the entire lot of illustrations.
That was awful.
But there was a hell of a lot going for that manuscript. It had a great warmth and energy, and it contained some lovely repetition of language. The two characters were very delightful, and their relationship was delightful. The plot, I think, the plot was terrific, very well constructed. I mean, I'm assuming you learned something about that through your creative writing course, but the plot set up the problem, created the obstacles, prolonged the quest, had a very arresting climax and a resolution and an ending that were really, really satisfying. But above all that, it had emotion. Even if we'd rather they'd be possums, but we cared about them.